welcome to our podcast where we're going to be tackling some challenges and experience of our grad school life. I'm Christine.
I'm Penny.
And Anniya.
And I'm Kimberly.
And today we're going to be diving into a topic that's all too familiar for many students, which is burnout.
Yeah, so talking about burnouts, we need to just define burnout, how we think about burnout. Actually, burnout is more than just a feeling stressed. It's a state of chronic physical and emotional exhaustion. So imagine waking up each day with a sense of tired and feeling drained before your day even begins. And this is a signal of burnout. And it's really crucial to distinguish it from your regular or daily stress.
Thank you, Anniya. So going a little bit more into burnout, I want to talk about some common causes of burnout in college, which could be very different for some students, but some 4 points that I wanted to talk about was academic pressure, which is basically like getting a heavy workload, challenging courses, or high expectations that can lead to burnout. Secondly would be extracurricular activities. So when we are going in college, we usually typically go through so many things. We try to be in clubs, sports. So balancing all that together, especially when we have jobs, families, and other commitments can be very difficult and can cause burnout. Third would be social pressure. So social pressures can be very different. It could be like peer relationships, social events, and the fear of missing out, which I can personally talk about. I do feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things, but it's just so much on me that I don't want to cause myself burnout. So I do decide not to attend a couple events in my school. And then lastly would be financial stress. So that can be many things as well, but one main thing that I have like seen it for myself is like managing tuition. Um, College is very expensive, especially if you go to a private school like we do. Um, just managing tuition, taking out loans could be so stressful, and living expenses, and sometimes part-time work. And some of us have two internships, and like myself, I'm currently in three jobs, so it does cause burnout at times. And then another topic that I do want to talk about is like academic stressors. So right now we're going through finals, so it's a big stressor on us. We have exams, deadlines, and we have a lot of pressure to maintain high grades as graduate students. And lastly is just balancing multiple assignments and projects simultaneously is very, very difficult. Um, and these academic stressors can really cause burnout. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is just time management. And there's a lot of strategies that can help us and students to prevent burnout. It's just really trying to focus and make sure you have like a list going of, okay, this is what I want to complete first. I have this to do, that to do. And what really helps myself like keep track and not to get burnout is really like having a Google sheet of having all my deadlines and assignments so that I could keep track and make sure that I give myself sufficient time to complete these assignments. So it's just really good to like try to practice your time management skills, give yourself realistic goals, and prioritize your tasks. And also, I wanted to talk about is self-care. Self-care is so important to prevent burnout because you have to take care of you have to take care of yourself and your mental well-being. So I would really encourage people to adopt self-care practices such as taking regular breaks, um, sleeping sufficient hours. We should at least be sleeping 7 to 8 hours and really having like healthy eating habits because you want to make sure like you're at least eating something during class or just in the morning. Like if you have to leave to work, try to grab like a quick like banana or something, just always got to maintain that. And also like I want to highlight the importance of maintaining a work-life balance. And lastly, just want to talk about some ways to seek support on having like, if you are currently going through like burnout, is you can discuss, you can talk with your friends. You could reach out for networks like your family, your academic advisors, or anything like that. Because believe it or not, a lot of us are going through this burnout, and talking with others and trying to seek help would be really beneficial. And also try to use your campus resources if you have any in school, like at USC. We do have a lot of resources, like we have student health that would help us, like if you needed to talk to someone. And we also have wellness programs at our school. And those are just a couple things that I wanted to bring out when it comes to burnout at our school, or things that we're currently going through. So if you wanted to take some of these strategies that I discussed, or like um, work on your time management or anything like that, or like doing self-care, is very beneficial, because a lot of us in grad school right now, if you're an undergrad, burnout is very common, and there's a lot of ways that you can seek help with that.
Yeah, and for me, I really want to talking about the another causes of the burnout. So for me, I'm an international student and I come from China. For Chinese, we always think that the hard work, than the hardworking, the diligence is really a virtue. So in this kind of culture, we really will have the will really will have the culture pressure. It's just like when you want to when you want to rest, when you say, I think that will be okay, that means you are just will be feel guilty because your peers and your culture just want you to keep hardworking. And so in this one, you will really easy to feel burnout, because you can just say your peers, they're just working hard, and they're just have a lot of maybe they're just a success in to some extent. So you will feel anxious, and then will take it forward to the burnout, just because you just can't push you forward, because you feel really tired. And for me, I really have the same feeling, especially in my study. And it's just because some I just feel some all of the others, all of my peers, they are working harder than me, and I just can't to catch them. So in this way, I just feel uh, uh, whatever I do, I can't catch them. So I just don't want to do anything. So to this way, I just think you can talk about with your friends, talk with about your professors, and as well as your advisors, or even just some strangers if you want. I think talk with others to feel something, just jump out of your box. You will feel a lot of the other a lot of other good things, and you will feel maybe you can get the energy back to push you forward to leave, I think. And sometimes the condition is very serious, so it's really recommended to think about to go to the mental health, to contact with the therapist, because they know how to help you to manage and operate your emotions, and how to release the burnout. And they can just give and for sometimes they can just give you the unconditional and positive response for you, and that is really helpful for you to get back to your life and keep all the things on track.
Okay, thank you all for sharing. So I can go next. I want to explain a little bit more about what burnout felt like for me after learning about more about, our experiences and what burnout actually is. So the symptoms that I were feeling were more of like fatigue, feeling tired all the time, wanting to sleep. I felt detachment. I felt like I wasn't really present in what I was doing because I was constantly thinking about other things I had to do. I also felt guilt when I was doing quote unquote fun things. If I was at hanging out with my friends or watching a movie, I felt like I had other things to do and I felt like I wasn't using my time properly. And I'd say the biggest symptom of it all was feeling anxiety and just feeling anxious about a lot of what I was doing and or what I wasn't doing. So I would say for me, I felt a lot of burnout more towards the beginning and end of college. So in the beginning, I felt a lot of burnout because I felt like I was adjusting and I was, feeling a lot of emotions, being on my own for the first time, being in different environments where I didn't know everyone and just learning a lot and feeling like I wasn't like doing what I was supposed to do. Just the whole new environment kind of threw me off and I felt like I wasn't used to what I was doing. And then, like towards the middle of college, I kind of got a little more used to what I was doing and kind of got like into routine. But then once I got towards the end of college, um, I felt like everything got to me again because, it's literally the end. It was my last year and I wanted to do everything I could to make sure my next steps were what I needed to do in order to get to my end goal. And then I realized that I wanted to go into grad school right after graduation. So that kind of added an extra pressure and an extra layer to the burnout where I was focusing on trying to finish the end of my undergraduate journey strong and try to make sure I had my grades. And then I wanted to make sure that my applications and everything was ready and like personal statements were ready for the schools I needed to go. And then again, I'm first generation, so that was kind of a process navigating that in itself. And then just trying to make the best of my senior year and like live life, as a senior and just, living, going to all the school traditions, school events that the school was hosting. So that was really kind of a lot, just trying to manage everything and do everything I could. So I would say I felt it the most then because I really, really wanted to make sure that I was doing everything and anything I could. By the end of the days, I was so tired. The weekends, I didn't want to do anything, but I had a lot to do. So I just felt like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, which was the most important, that I was taking care of myself. I was taking care of everything else but myself. And it wasn't really until grad school that I became very, very busy. Also, I think the busiest I've ever been with like the previous peers mentioned, having different jobs, different work experiences, and having class and managing life. But I feel like I have finally kind of learned to manage this burnout and kind of avoiding it and managing like the symptoms as soon as I start to feel them. So I would say one of the first things I do and what I've learned to do is to acknowledge when I'm feeling any symptoms or if I'm feeling very, very stressed. I know that I need to take a step back and just acknowledge that, it's happening and that I need to kind of take some steps in order to avoid it. And then I feel like I found what was helpful is finding what kind of makes that feel better and allowing your like time for you. So I would say that for me, that was being active. So either it being going outside and taking a walk or trying to clean my space or going to the gym, not even doing anything crazy, but just like maybe an incline walk or something, just something that keeps me active and away from doing things like overthinking things or just doing, too much of one thing. So I find that that's really helpful for me also, and just organizing my time well. I have become a big fan of planners and color coding things. So, one thing that I also started doing in grad school is kind of planning and writing into my agenda time for myself or like social time for friends, time for family, times to go eat or try something new. Because I feel like my agenda can't be full of things I have to do or like assignments because that kind of contributes to my feelings of prioritizing that. Because while it is important, I also have to prioritize myself. So I found that things have gotten a lot better and easy to manage. Like this current year, my peer said, I also have three positions and I go to school and I have assignments and I deal with family, but I find myself to be way less burnt out because I learned to balance my time. So I would say it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. And just understanding that um you need to just acknowledge your symptoms when you start to feel, like a lot of intense emotions and a lot of like tiredness, and then figuring out what's best for you. Because that's what I did. So that was me.
Thank you, Kimberly. And uh, I want to talk about the burnout as being a student parent. I know you have all talked about like being a student in the stress of being a student in the college, but being a student parents is also kind of different. We have different stress, because my husband is not here. He needs working in another country, so most of the time I need to take care of my kids or myself. Sometimes I feel like a single parent because the weight of the isolation and the repetitive lives. Of course, I love my kids, but simultaneously, there is no personal time for me. And sometimes I feel I have lost my identity completely. I couldn't, in the nighttime, all I do is working at school and run home to pick up my kids from school because it's 5:30 and he's really tired. Wrestle through the evening with him, then clean up the house, go to bed, and do it over again. So I feel there's no personal time, and I couldn't get the opportunity to go out with my friends in the night. And I cannot go out with my friend during the weekdays because my kids is not going to school on weekends, so I have to be with him. So, but I do find some ways to cope with my stress. For example, I do seek help. I do go to the counseling center. I think it's beneficial for students because they can seek guidance from the trained professionals who know how to help someone with burnout. So I do go to counseling hours. And also I try to learn to lighten my workload. As there is a lot of pressure on college students to decide what they want to do with their life and then figure out the best way to achieve that. I do feel the same. Right now I'm also facing how to find a job, and so there is like a double shift for me. So I'm trying to prioritize my and set a realistic goals for me, and lighten my workload would also help me to feel better in my life. And the most important thing for me is I do practice self-care. I practice yoga for a long time, and recently I'm also interested into the mindfulness meditation because I think practicing self-care should be a priority for every college students, especially for those who is trying to recover from burnout. A student's mental and emotional well-being is just as important as their physical health. Doing like a self-care practice can help us to rediscover ourselves and makes us feel happy again. And I think college should not just be about finding a career path. It should also be about finding independence and building self-worth. For me, I like to recently I was practicing mindful meditation, and it's a basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we are doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. I found it's really helpful for me, and I also want to I also want to invite you guys to practice like a simple meditation steps with me if that's okay with you guys. So the first step is to sit comfortably. Find a spot that gives you a stable, solid, comfortable seat. And next, notice what your legs are doing. If on a cushion, cross your legs comfortably in front of you. If on a chair, rest the buttons of your feet on the floor. Straighten your upper body, but don't stiffen. Your spine has naturally curvature. Let it be there. Notice what your arms are doing. Situate your upper arms parallel to your upper body. Rest the palms of your hands on your legs wherever it feels most natural. Soften your gaze. Drop your chin a little and let your gaze fall gently downward. It's not necessary to close your eyes, but if you want, you can. You can simply let what appears before your eyes be there without focusing on it. Feel your breath. Bring your attention to the physical sensation of breathing, the air moving through your nose or mouth, the rising and falling of your belly or your chest. Notice when your mind wanders from your breath. Inevitably, your attention will leave the breath and wander to other places. Don't worry, there is no need to block or eliminate thinking. When you notice your mind wandering gently, return your attention to the breath. Be kind about your wandering mind. You may find your mind wandering constantly. That's normal too. Instead of wrestling through with your thoughts, practice observing them without reacting. Just sit and pay attention, as hard as it is to maintain. That's all there is. Come back to your breath over and over again without judgment or expectation. Simply breathe in while saying breathe in your head as you do. Then breathe out. For the next minute or so, your aim is to focus on this circular breath as a simple word in your head as much as possible. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Just focus on the breath and the words in your head. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. When you are ready, gently lift your gaze. If your eyes are closed, open them. Take a moment and notice any sounds in the environment. Notice how your body feels right now. Notice your thoughts and emotions. So I do recommend to practice meditation like every day at home because it's very easy to do that. You just need to find a quiet space. And I do find doing the meditation practice help me to really feel the present instead of worrying, instead of having anxious or depressed for what not happening, to really focus on the present. And I hope that would be also helpful for you. And let's conclude my introduction, I think.
Thank you, Penny. So, well, that's our wrap on our discussion on burnout during college or grad school, our own personal experiences. But remember, it's okay to acknowledge when you're feeling overwhelmed, and seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. So please give yourself kindness. Try to use the strategies that we discussed in our podcast today. But thank you so much for being here. And thank you to everyone listening. I hope everyone has a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.